Ray Mofield. We're visiting today at Cardinal Health Center, and that's in the heart of downtown Possum Trot. Well, not quite. Really, it's out the road a little bit from the grocery and the furniture store, but we call it Possum Trot. I believe it's under new management now.
Possum Trot, to tell me, was had a different name. Paducah had a different name.
All right.
I don't know what the name was. I forgot. Wait a minute.
The lady we're visiting is Mrs. Mary Ethel Jackson McDonald, and she's not really a Marshall County, and except she is now, she's living here. But I understand she has a lot of interesting things to tell us about the metropolis of the Jackson Purchase, where all of us tried to go maybe once in a lifetime or once a year if we had the money, haul off our tobacco or something, we'd go to Paducah. And she is 101 years old, having been born in 1884. Ms. Jackson, thanks for letting me come in. Or Ms. McDonald, really. You were a Jackson. What is your father's name?
Charles Jackson.
And your mother?
Mary O. Jackson.
She was a Poe before
she married.
Well, I wonder if she's related to people like Irving Poe in Marshall County. You know?
I don't know, but she has, I think, got all people that was lives in Illinois, but I don't know nothing about them. See, my mother died when I was small.
Were you born in Illinois?
Yeah.
What county?
Massac.
Massac County, near the town of Uniontown?
Well, see, Massac County is just across the river from Metropolis.
Yeah.
Right there, Metropolis. I was born in Metropolis around there.
Mm-hmm.
But what the name of if the town had a name, I didn't know it.
All right. And so you've been around 101 years now. I'd like you to tell us about, did you go to a one-room school?
Yes, went to one-room school. And there was about 40 members, 40 pupils, and had one teacher.
You have any idea of the teachers that taught you?
Yes, I knew. There were several teachers. One of them, well, the first thing I remember was Biglet. Well, we all were big legs when we got from that hair.
All right. But not to her face.
Yeah.
All right.
She went to school. She taught school, and I went to her. And then I went to an Emma Brainerd. She was from Metropolis. I was a little higher grade then.
Yes, sir.
And then, I don't remember, but one more school teacher that I ever had, and his name was Poe.
All right. What did your father do for a living? Was he a farmer?
He worked on the river mostly.
Worked on the river.
Yes.
Well,
and he farmed a little too.
Mm-hmm.
Because he worked for the man who took care of the old ferry boat, Orange ferry boat.
Now that was before there was a bridge between Brookport and Paducah.
Yeah, years before the bridge.
Bridge, I believe, didn't open till 1929.
I think it was on there.
Uh-huh.
A long time before that. Because I had a sister that she was, we used to go and play on that boat a lot. Go back and forth across the river.
You enjoyed that?
Oh, sure. See everybody along.
Did you have to work as a child?
Well,
on the farm or anything, a garden?
No, I never worked outdoors.
Uh-huh.
I never done no work outdoors.
Good.
I did. Was out with people or worked with other people, but I never did do no outdoor work because I never could. Since then, son.
All right. Now you remember before there was a bridge from Brookport to Metropolis, which was 1929.
Yes.
And could you tell us anything else about Paducah? When did you move there?
Well, I come to Paducah, I was about 20 years. That's it. I know I'll say about 16, I guess.
You were about 16 years old, so that was early in this century.
Yes.
You were, say, 1910. Was the 10-story bank building built by that time?
No, that ain't been built on it. I don't.
It was built in the teens. It's been there a long, long time.
Yes.
All right.
It's been there when there's having snow knee deep.
Do you remember the old Riverside Hospital?
I tried to get a job there, and I couldn't take the work.
Yes.
I went there one train to be a nurse, and I couldn't stand it.
Now, Paducah, of course, being on the Ohio and the Tennessee, not very far from the Cumberland and the Mississippi, has had a lot of river history.
Yes.
Do you remember any of the famous old boats there, like the Joe Wheeler and
There was the Joe Fowler.
Joe Fowler? That's right. Yeah, Joe Fowler.
There was two of them boats, but I forgot the name of the other one, the first name.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was two. And I know when the old ferry boat broke in two, the one that carried the passengers across the river.
Were there people on it when that happened?
Two. But the water wasn't high, and I don't think, best I remember, there didn't any of them get drowned.
Now, Paducah remembers its floods.
Yes.
1913 was a big
I
flood.
remember that.
They thought that was terribly bad because it turned out it wasn't anything like 1937
Yeah.
or even 27.
I was living on 21st Street then. Town didn't build up.
Uh-huh. Yes, in the 1920 census, Paducah had about 33,000 people, as big as it is now, really, inside the city limits, maybe a little bigger.
Well, when I first come here, when I first knew anything about it, old enough to remember, they haul water in barrels up to people that couldn't go. They got haul river water in barrels for people. Had it on a barge.
Isn't that amazing? Now, the water system in Paducah had been around, but it didn't cover all the city. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, didn't cover not half of it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Up to that time, the city limits were near for about 9th Street.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
And then it went out to Fountain Avenue.
The big circle there where they had the fountain, of course, and Fountain Avenue Methodist Church and so on. That was about the edge of town then, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a town then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Several years later, they moved the city limits to Ohio and Kentucky.
About 1927, of course, you were getting on a little older then. The railroad opened a hospital there, the Illinois Central Hospital, didn't it?
That building's standing yet, I think.
Yes, it is. I believe. I think they call it the Catterjohn Building, and there are offices in it.
Uh-huh.
But I can remember when it was a hospital, of course, that was continued up until the 40s at least, maybe the 50s.
Well, I think it looked out of about 50.
Yeah.
Best I remember it.
Because Western
50
Baptist,
or 60.
Western Baptist opened in the 50s sometime. I don't remember the date offhand.
No, I don't remember.
You and I both are sort of ad-libbing here, and I don't have any notes before me, so, but I'm sure it was in the 50s.
Yes.
Because I worked at WPAD till 59.
Yes, and then before they built that, they went to building up the railroad shops. And then over the west side of the railroad shops was a holler.
Mm-hmm. I can remember reading that when those shops were finished in 1927, Averill Hammond came from New York City to dedicate it. He was a chief stockholder. And it was the biggest railroad repair shop in the world.
They thought it was.
Well, it was at that time, I
It
think.
might have been, I won't argue that.
They may have built some bigger ones later. Of course, no one uses
Yes.
the number of men they once did. Steam took more manpower than diesels do.
Oh, yes. And sometimes I really think that's a ruination of the nation now. They got so much electricity, so much electric work going that people does it to that and don't have the help that they should have. People's not healthy like they used to be.
I think I read that this street railway system began in Paducah about 1875 or so, and they had some mule-drawn
Yes.
cars, and then later they went electric, and that stayed until about 1935 or so.
Then they had to have wood on the engines to keep it running.
Did they have wood burning engines at one time? Uh-huh.
I had an uncle that worked on one.
Yes, sir.
He was engineer with somebody.
Oh, yes, an engineer was somebody. That's true.
Everybody around thought so.
Mama, can you tell him who lived next door to us out there on the Granville Road, Roanoke Road?
Yeah.
Out there in the field.
Oh, Sanders?
Barkley.
Oh,
Langstaff.
yes, I live neighbors to Barclays.
Mm-hmm. That was out where by the Angles.
Yeah, and out on the Granville Road. We
Uh-huh.
I knew one that was in the president, and my daughter too.
Mm-hmm.
And we lived by the Langstaff.
They bought the old Langstaff place.
Yes, sir.
I know when that all changed.
So you remember Barkley when he ran for county judge in 1907 or something like that.
Yes.
And then he ran for Congress in the fall of 1912 and was elected the same time that Woodrow Wilson went to the White House. He was sworn in March the 4th, 1913.
Yes. And I lived out neighbors to his brother. And he's been to my house several times after I was married. Yeah. Of course, well, I knew his brother, and they all visited, and then everybody was everybody's neighbor.
Mm-hmm. A little different. Well, why do you suppose that's changed now?
It's just the work in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You read your Bible good, and you'll see that it tells you that everything will be as was.
Mm-hmm.
Parents will hate their children, and their children will hate their parents.
Mm-hmm.
And you can read that.
Yes, sir. Well, you were around in Paducah when they changed from those old wood-burning engines over to electric for the streetcars, I guess.
Yes.
Did you ride those streetcars quite a bit?
No, I never rode it too much. And when the first electric cars come out, the old Washington school let the school children all out. Everybody was lined up to see that electric train go down the street. And they laughed at us. Now, it would be a shame now when I had a couple of mules pulling that streetcar down the street.
Well, you know, we're about as crazy as they were, though. I noticed this year we've spent, I say we, society as a whole, the city of Paducah, has spent, say, $100,000 or so and bought a trolley, something that resembles an old streetcar. Of course, it's got a gasoline motor in it or a diesel.
Yes.
And I don't know who they think they're fooling, but
That's
for the tourists.
Yes, at one time they had mules. They had over mules. And they had a stove right in the middle of the car to keep the ones on the road the car warm. And that would be a show now.
That really would. I'm glad to hear all those things. I've read some of it in history, but to see somebody that actually remembers it.
I actually saw that. Of course, I don't remember I know where the school, that was a big place then. It was kind of as big as the college is now, really.
Washington School was on
12th and Broadway.
12th and Broadway, yes, sir.
It wasn't right on the corner, but it was up off of it a little bit. 12th and 13th. Took in about a half a square there.
Yes, sir. I can remember when that building was there. It was opposite the street from then Taylor Wilson Chevrolet Cadillac.
Oh, yeah.
And
laundry.
and yes, and Dick Fairhurst had a laundry at I guess corner 13th. Over on Kentucky Avenue there was a Walls laundry, but I've forgotten the exact street it was. 10th, was it?
Yes, they had it.
They had a white castle next to the...
So then, it was that close to South. When it went out, it was close to Railroad South.
Did you ever go down in those days and shop at the farmer's market on
What do you think I'm crying?
2nd and...
Kentucky Avenue?
Uh-huh.
Yes, I have. No, that's not, it didn't go in the farmer's market. They find them in nature, man. I guess that's you that remember that.
That was the grocery store, Mama. The farmer's market where they had brought the
It was on 3rd and Broadway.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. I can recall a chain of stores known as Meacham's. Yeah. Just bad.
Well, the farmer, there was, Bynum was just a coal miner. It was just partners in it. This other one was just farmer's market was just thin. There's a little place in a store. And there's put another place between Kentucky Avenue and Broadway. And they went around, they sold eggs, nickel a dozen.
5 cents a dozen.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds awfully cheap, doesn't it? I'd hate to have chickens and sell the eggs for a nickel. Don't believe you'd make much money, do you?
Well, chickens run wild and eat off of the world, off of the land.
But they didn't lay much, though, did they?
Yes, you had many eggs. Of course, they didn't get all that fine mash and such as that. They got out and scratched eggs and eat waters and seeds and food and that. And, of course, everybody fed them some. Fed them corn, such as that.
Did your mother ever make you put Walco tablets in the chicken water? Turned it kind of purple like?
No, I put coal oil in it and I put pork root in it.
I've seen poke root in all the chicken troughs used to have a poke root.
And,
Was that supposed to
and
keep
when
them
the chicken
healthy?
gets sick, we take and give them a drop or two of coal oil.
We cured him up right away.
Nearly always does. But you have to be careful to keep mosquitoes out of the hen house as much as possible.
Yeah. Well, you had to see that they got some gravel some way. Did you feed them oyster shells?
No, they didn't. They got that off the ground. Yeah. Because they didn't, every one of them most knew where their home was. They were in a certain place to roost.
If they didn't have grit, though, they couldn't
They
digest
didn't
the
have
food.
the regular grit. If they needed grit, you had to keep them up. You broke glass and this one thing and another up real fine. And give it to them, pick up real fine gravel, but if you got any amounts, you just pick up crops and stuff like that. Real fine. And they'll fix that.
Yes. Well, I can see you've been around chickens, all right.
And I always fool with chickens.
How did you kill a chicken?
Huh?
How did you kill a chicken?
I just raised them on the little hen.
How did you kill her?
I never killed one.
Oh, you didn't?
I couldn't kill them. I ain't got that hard. But I've raised them around fowls nearly all the time. I was in the country quite a lot. When I raised up my younger days in the country.
My mother had kind of a knack of she could just sort of jerk her arm and
I tried it now.
their head would fly right off and they were dead instantly almost. Oh, they'd flop around a little bit.
Yes, they do that.
Now some would lay their head on a stovewood block.
I finally got where I could kill one if he wasn't looking at me. I couldn't look at him.
You were chicken-hearted, were you?
Yeah,
I've heard
that's what the said it was.
Yeah, okay.
And a turkey or a goose, I couldn't just kill them at all. Because I loved them too well.
What about a guinea?
Huh?
Did you ever kill a guinea?
No. I never killed but one chicken, and one or two chickens in my life. And I shot his head off. I got him laid down, and somebody else took his head out, and I cut it. I didn't do it by myself.
Took help.
I didn't have them, as I said, I didn't have the guts. Didn't have the nerve.
All right, let's get up. The 27 flood was even bigger than 1913. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I was there in 1913.
All right, now what about the 37 flood? When it got up to
I was
nearly...
living on Jumbo Hill then.
So the water didn't get to you?
No. No, I didn't get it. I never did get that girl of mine there can tell you about that 37 flood. She went into it. She lived in it, but I didn't live in it.
It lacked just a hair, being 62 feet deep. And the water was 11 feet deep in the old train station.
And I know it was awful deep. I didn't know. I couldn't say how deep it was. But everybody was going around in boats and everything else.
The boats sailed in and out of the second floor of the Irving Cobb Hotel.
Yeah.
And of course,
And there was somebody had a cow or two up on the porch down on the south north side of town.
yeah.
I had the pictures for years. The papers I had all them flood papers. They finally got lost or watered. I don't know which now.
How many children did you have, Miss McDonald?
I have 7. 2 of them. All of them, 5 of them are living.
5 are living. Are they mostly in this part of the world?
Oh, yes, they're all in this part of the world.
So you get to see them. Do you have any grandchildren?
Well, you'd have to get counting soon to find them.
All right. Well, that's good.
Children and great-grandchildren. I've got 3 great-grandchildren. I don't think there's any 4 ones coming along yet.
Great, great. Now that makes what, 5 generations?
Yes. 5 generations of them. Because, well,
Well, we only have about a minute or 2 left. Could you, do you want to tell us the funniest thing you ever remember happening to you?
I couldn't do all that.
You ever have the preacher come and you burned the biscuits or anything?
No, I don't think I ever did.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I ever did.
You won't tell your most embarrassing moment.
I've had so many of them. Oh, well, I guess, well, I don't think it was. Worst ever I got beat, I wasn't over 14 years old. And I was going to a party, going home from a party, and I thought I was grown, but I wasn't. I don't know how the boyfriend took me to the party, and come upstairs and say, go home. His brother had to take us home. I knew that was the worst of their life.
He wasn't as grown up as he thought he was.
No.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Ms. McDonald. We've been at the Cardinal Nursing Home at Possum Trot on US 62, and we've been talking to Mrs. Mary Ethel Jackson McDonald, and she's 101 years old. And she got a beautiful room here. You like staying here, do you?
Oh, it's all right. It ain't like home.
Not like home, but everybody
It's like
says...
home. Especially when you're raised up right in the house all the time.
Yes, sir. Well, this is Ray Mofield speaking, and we return you now to our studio.